Hey guys, my name is Alicia and welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing a pretty fun video where I am going to be recommending you books based on the kind of top songs from 2021 as well as my favorite songs from 2021. So I've seen videos like this kind of going around where people, pick either albums or songs and kind of recommend books based on those songs. So I just thought this would be fun and a nice way to kind of wrap up 2021 and all of the music that came out in 2021. So yes, I'm gonna basically give you guys a book that I think fits really well with a certain song, or maybe like a couple from a book, something that just this book relates to the song really well. So let's get into it. So to start us off, we have a pretty popular song for 2021. I don't know how many people love this song, but I know a lot of people played it. But that is Ghost by Justin Bieber, and so this is off of his album that came out in 2021, and I definitely vibed with the song. I really liked it, and I think it had a pretty nice message. So basically what the song is saying is that even if you can't be with the person you love or you want to be with, you'll settle for the ghost of them. And I just feel like that's pretty powerful, right? Like, you want to be with this person so badly that you'll even, just be with like the idea of them, the ghost of them. And so yeah, this song is pretty great, and I think perfect book for this song is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So if you've read this book, you know that there is a grand love story in this book where our main character, Evelyn Hugo, throughout the book we're trying to figure out who was the love of her life because she had seven husbands. So the grand love story is actually Evelyn Hugo and Celia St. James. And due to like the timeline of this book, so we start in I think the 1930s, 1940s, where obviously being gay or lesbian or queer is not really accepted. It's frowned upon, especially in an industry like Hollywood, where this book takes place in. People just didn't really tell or come out as gay, and so Evelyn Hugo, for most of her life, is kind of dealing with that problem of deciding whether she, wants to go further in her career or wants to be out and open with the love of her life, Celia St. James. So I just think this song fits really well with this story and this couple specifically, because I think that like Evelyn Hugo is really fighting so hard to get the things that she wants in life, but also being happy with who she is and accepting of who she is. And Celia St. James, on the other hand, is in love with Evelyn, and she wants nothing more to just be like out there and open with Evelyn. So in a way, both of them are fighting to be with this idea of the other person. And in the end, like, this has a really heartbreaking ending, and I feel like being with the ghost of each other is kind of where both of them end up, because they're just such a tumultuous relationship that they have and so many problems, and that but you can tell how real and how strong and how just powerful their love is, despite it being really flawed. So yeah, this was one of my favorite books of the year, and I think it fits really well with the song, but if you haven't read this book, you need to go read it. So next up, I have a song by the Queen herself, and that is Taylor Swift, and this is Willow in her new album, Evermore, that came out in 2021, I'm pretty sure. But basically, I love this song. I think this song has such like magical kind of mystical vibes, and it really gives me like that cottagecore feel, that atmosphere. So I really love that. And I think that this song fits perfectly with the book The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So I read this book in early 2021. Although I will admit it's not my favorite, I do think that there are kind of a lot of problems with this book, and it is a bit boring just for my personal taste, but I think this song fits really well with the book. So this book is basically about our main character, Addie LaRue, who is years and years and years ago made a deal with the devil because she was being forced to get married, and she was like, hell no. So she makes this deal where she is able to be free and experience the world and everything, but nobody will ever remember her. She ends up going through her life with these kind of really small, insignificant interactions with people, because after, one conversation and the person leaves, they'll just forget about her. Until she meets this guy named Henry in closer to our current day, because this does span like 400 years or something. But Henry ends up actually remembering her. So they strike this really really great relationship, although again, people have problems with that. And I do see that because, I mean, she ends up only being with this guy because he's the only person who remembers her. But that's neither here nor there. She also has this really great kind of back and forth with the devil himself, who is Luke. And there's a bit of like this romance spark, something there, but like throughout her life, Luke is the only person she also really ever interacts with because he obviously knows her, remembers her, and he's the one who put this curse kind of on her. So they have this interesting relationship. But basically, why I think this song fits with this book is because this book is just a really atmospheric read. Obviously, V. Schwab's writing is so lyrical and beautiful, but I feel like this book really gives me that, again, like cottagecore vibes. Like, it really is this mystical kind of whimsical story. And I just feel like if you listen to the song, you know, while reading this book or like with this song in the back of your head, it just has just the way that this music is, gives you the vibe of this book, if that makes sense. So next up, I have probably my favorite song of 2021, and that is Heat Waves by Joss Anderson. This song was just so popular and so hyped, but I actually heard it for the first time before it got hyped on like TikTok and everything, and I absolutely love this song. I just feel like this is such a great summer song. It gives you such like positive vibes and just makes you feel good, you know? But basically, my interpretation of what this song is about is basically a right person, wrong time type of situation. Like there is something between these two people who like love each other a lot, but that just isn't right, and it's not going to work out. And you know, they had some amazing times, but you know, there's certain things that are flawed and kind of problematic with the other person that maybe you can't fix, and that's why it's not going to work out. But I think that this song fits perfectly with Gods of Jane and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. So this is another one of my favorite books of 2021, and this book has just so much. It is basically a fantasy book that has inspiration from Aztec and Mayan mythology, and we have a main character, Cassiopeia, who for most of her life is really kind of bogged down by the patriarchy. She doesn't have her own voice, she isn't allowed to do anything, and she just spends her life taking care of her grandfather, who's also like really mean to her. Until one day she stumbles across this chest which has some bones in it. So she accidentally opens it and nicks, I think, her finger, like some blood gets onto the bones. And from those bones comes the god of the underworld in Mayan mythology. And so now she is kind of bound to this guy, and they have to go on these kind of quests to help him reach the underworld again. And so by going through their quest together and everything, they end up having this really great romance that I think was so beautiful and fun to read about. But by the end of the book, obviously she has a different destiny for her life, and he has, you know, other plans where he has to go back to the underworld and be the king and everything. But she can't go with him for obvious reasons. So I think that this fits really well because Heat Waves is a song, again, that like you had this amazing time with this person, but it has come to an end, and there are reasons for that ending. Like, it's not going to work out. So that's kind of like this couple in this book that, you know, they had an amazing few, I don't know, weeks, months, however long their quest took, but they had an amazing time, and they really grew close, and they really like formed this great connection. But things are just not going to work out for reasons that are kind of beyond their control. So I think, yeah, like it fits really well, and I don't know if the vibe necessarily is the same. Like when you listen to this song and read this book, it may not give you the same vibe, but I think the lyrics and kind of the message of the song fits really well. So next I have a song by the great Billie Eilish, and that is Oxytocin. So this obviously is from her recent album, Happily Ever After, I think is the title. But I have to admit, I didn't really love this song when I first heard it, but I do like it now, and I think it just fits really well with the book that I've chosen. Basically, the reason that I'm choosing this song for this book is because of really the vibes of this song. I think this song just has it's the perfect song for like a dark academia book. It's just really kind of mysterious and really dark and just really gritty, and honestly a lot of Billie Eilish's songs are this way, so I feel like a lot of her songs fit perfectly for dark academia vibes. But the book that I've chosen is The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. I read this pretty near the end of 2021, so it's really fresh in my head, but I absolutely love this book. Of course, it's getting a lot of hype on TikTok, and I think deservedly so. It is just so good. This is basically this kind of secret society where the Alexandrian Library never actually burned down, and these people ended up protecting it, and now have a group of the best magicians basically in the world, where they bring in 6 of them to kind of train them to be, I think, like protectors of this library, or like protectors of the knowledge that the library holds. But basically what we find out is that the 6 people who were kind of initiated, only 5 of them will remain at the end, because one of them will be kicked out of the society. But it's a bit of a Hunger Games situation on how they pick which one person is not going to end up getting fully initiated. And it's the group of 6 that are going to pick this one person. So really, in this book, everybody is against everybody else, and you can't really trust anybody. So there's just a lot going on in this book. And another thing that I love about this book is that I felt like, in a way, it was kind of like a CW show where everybody just had crazy chemistry with everybody. And in a way, you kind of like wanted to ship certain people with certain people. Like, it wasn't like a single ship that you were like, yeah, these 2 people are meant to be together. It was just like everybody was getting it on with everyone else. So I thought that was really fun. And again, I think that this song, I don't know necessarily about the message of the song, but I think the vibe of this song is perfect for this book. And yeah, I think that this book is really fun, that song is really fun, and it's another one that you need to read. So next up is a song from one of my favorite albums of the year and my favorite artist of the year, and that is I Don't Do Drugs by Doja Cat, and it's featuring Ariana Grande. So this song is just amazing. I absolutely love this song. I think it has such a beautiful tone, beautiful like melody, and I think it's actually a really meaningful song. But basically what this is about is somebody who you have like so much love for, and you're gonna like ready to fight through everything to be with that person. And it's kind of like comparing this love you have for this person to like the kind of high or addiction to drugs. So the book that I chose for this song is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I think this is one of the best romances of 2021, and it is actually more than a romance, I think. I think that the kind of other messages in this book and the even the side characters were so great, and the overall story was so great. So yeah, a lot of things that I loved in this book. But I think that this is perfect for I Don't Do Drugs, because not only are our characters dealing with a lot of kind of personal issues, but this is a second chance romance. So they knew each other in high school for 10 days in June, and they had this really up and down roller coaster of a romance. And both of them were actually addicted to drugs and had like a really hard time at that point in their life. So now when they meet, I think it's like 15, 20 years later, and they're in really different points in their life, but both of them are now writers and meet at this, I think it's like a writers' convention or something, and their romance kind of rekindles. But basically, the overall point of the story is that throughout all the years that they were away from each other, and you know, they had a lot of issues when they knew each other as teenagers, but they have both kind of done their personal journeys and discoveries and healing to now be at a place where like maybe they can be together and it can be like a healthy relationship. So I think that their love is like a great, comparing it to kind of like an addiction to drugs is a bit on the unhealthy side. But I think that it really just shows how strong that their bond was and how much they love each other, that, you know, they did what they had to do to work towards being together and being healthy for each other and being in a kind of long-term, satisfying, healthy relationship. So yeah, I think that this song fits perfectly, and again, love that song, love this book. So next up I have, I think, one of, if not the most popular song of last year, and that is Good For You by Alisha. So this song, I think, just hit the charts. Everybody loved this song, and I was no different. The song was so great, so much fun. It's great to sing along to in the shower, so love it. But obviously what the song is talking about is about well, technically it's like a bad, you know, relationship. And instead of being like, F you to this guy, she's saying, good for you, you're happy and healthy, not me, if you ever care to ask. So I just think, first of all, those are some great lyrics, because it's really like taking the, kind of being the better person in this situation and saying that like, you broke my heart, and good for you, but in the end, you know, I'm gonna come out stronger and I'm a badass. So I think that the perfect book for this song is Finlay Donovan is Killing It by El Casamano. So this book is probably one of the most fun kind of mystery thrillers that I've read this past year. It had so many great vibes, and our main character, Finlay Donovan, is a true badass. So I think that this song fits really well because Finlay, at the start of the story, is kind of going through a pretty hard time. She is recently, I think, either divorced or separated from her ex-husband who cheated on her, and now she's kind of in this downward spiral because her book, she's a writer, so this book that she's writing is, I think she has like a bit of writer's block, or things aren't really working with it. So she's trying to figure that out and then also take care of her two children, I think, and trying to be a mother and, you know, get over her bad breakup and write her book. So there's just so many things going on. Things that she does in this book are just, again, really badass, really kind of savage, and saying kind of good for you to your husband and to the world that was like putting her down, or, you know, maybe doubted her or things like that. And yeah, she, you know, comes out swinging on the other side and, you know, does some questionable things in this book. But again, just, I had so much fun. And I also think that the vibe of this song fits really well as well with this book because of how, just, again, you want to sing that song from like the rooftops. And same thing with Finlay. She's just such a out there character, so loud, so bubbly, and so much fun to read about. So if she were a song, I feel like you would want to sing her from your rooftops as well. So now, switching gears a little bit, we have a kind of more mellow song, and that is Mood Ring by Lorde, who also released an album in 2021. But I really love this song, and I think it has a really interesting message. But basically, what I got from the song is that it's kind of a bit of a satire on the idea of kind of health culture and wellness culture. And by wellness culture, I kind of mean, like, obviously self-love and like wellness, health and wellness are really important and really valuable. But I feel like this culture of it kind of has, in our modern day, turned that all around and kind of not only like turned things into a business and just a kind of commercial profitable thing, but also kind of the like culture itself of like, I don't know, meditation and yoga and all of these things are not really, it's not always doing what it's set out to do, and people aren't really following it as it's meant to be followed, if that makes sense. So this song kind of turns that on its head and is saying that, like, kind of, I mean, I don't know if this is Lorde's intention, but I felt like she was kind of making fun of the idea that, you know, people are just so obsessed with wellness that they forget to like actually be well and to gain something from this, if that makes sense. Like, some of the lyrics are, I can't feel a thing, I keep looking at my mood ring, tell me how I'm feeling. So like just that idea of like having a mood ring, you know, like those mood rings we had as children, which would like change colors, and depending on the color, it would be your mood. Obviously, that's not real, but just this idea that like you need this ring, or like other people, or this whole idea of like other outside external forces need to tell you how to feel, how to be, and all of those things in terms of wellness culture. Again, I don't know if that's actually what she meant to say with the song, but that's kind of what I got from it. So now moving on to the book, not necessarily like in terms of the wellness side of things, but the book that I did choose is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is her newest release that came out in 2021, and I think, I mean, first off, I think that this song fits really well because I always feel like really great beach vibes and summer vibes, kind of just chilling at a beach vibe from this song, which obviously this is a great summer book, beach book. So I think that this book, well, basically what this is about is one of the husbands from Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Mick Riva, he is the father of these four children in this book who are our main characters. But he's a really absent father and hasn't really been there for his kids, so his kids are growing up kind of being adults early on and taking care of themselves. And honestly, we see like a bit of like the backstory of Mick and his wife, who he had these children with, and kind of their tumultuous relationship, and then also how these kids had to kind of raise themselves, especially Nina, our pretty much main character, who is the oldest and actually had to raise her siblings herself because their parents were never really around or there for her and her siblings. Basically, I think that this song fits well with like Nina as a character specifically because she does everything for everybody else and like does kind of lets herself lose her way, lose her dreams, and not fight for herself because she's always looking out for her siblings and doing what's best for them. But she's not always doing what's best for her. And so I just think in terms of if we want to bring it back to like wellness culture and things like that, it kind of ends up being that where like you want to, go into this because you want to take care of yourself and again, like self-love, help yourself be well and all of those things. But because of the outside world or these external forces, you aren't necessarily able to actually have this, directly impact you in a positive way. So next up, I have another song by the one and only Taylor Swift, who honestly I feel like has released 10 albums in the last 2 years. But this song is from her Red Taylor's version, and that is The Very First Night. So this is one of those vault tracks, which are one of the newer tracks from the Red album. But I absolutely love this song. The first second that I heard it, I knew that this was going to be amazing, and it was. So what the song is technically, I think, about, and like the vibe that it gives me is we have, this relationship, these two people that love each other so much and have this really kind of strong history and this strong bond that other people aren't really aware of, and other people might judge it or might look at it a certain way, but like they know, these two people in this relationship know, what it was like that very first night, what it was like when they met each other and how much they love each other, and again, that history that they have, which is like just so foundational to their relationship. So for this song, I technically have a specific couple, but the book is The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi, and the couple is Layla and Severin from this book. And I think Layla and Severin are some just amazing characters, and I think that their relationship is one of the best relationships that I've read about. I really love them individually, but I just love them together so much. And you really have to read, this is a series and there's 3 books. You really kind of have to read all of the books to get that satisfaction with this relationship, because it is pretty slow burn if you ask me. But basically, the relationship, when we start out in this first book, all we know is that they spend one night together, and both of them have these really strong memories and feelings from this night, and you can clearly tell throughout this book and the series that they have a lot of love for each other, and they are kind of each other's person. But it's a lot of things in the way of them being together. So I just think that that fits really well with this song, because again, this song is kind of talking about we had this night, or we know our true feelings and our love for each other is stronger than anything, because we remember, all of the memories that we share and all of the feelings that we have, which are so real and so powerful. So I have 2 more recommendations for you. First off, we have the song Industry Baby by Lil Nas X featuring Jack Harlow. So this, I think, was another really popular song, and I love this song. I think it's just such a fun song, and I think it also has a pretty nice message. Basically, what I got from the song is Lil Nas X here is telling everybody to kind of back off. This is the song for his haters. He is done with everybody doubting him and putting him down, and he's rising up and kind of throwing it in everyone's faces that he's made it and he is an industry baby. So a lyric in the song is, "You was never really rooting for me anyway. When I'm back up at the top, I want to hear you say, he don't run from nothing, dog. Get your soldiers, tell him that the break is over." So when I say that out loud as rap lyrics, that sounds really weird. But if you've heard the song, those are the lyrics. But yeah, basically what he's saying is that people weren't rooting for him. People were ready for him to fail, but he made it. So I think that a book that works really well with this song is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. So this is a pretty popular book of 2021. I personally didn't necessarily love it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. But I think that it's a really great book, and a really great book for idea of Black people rising up and fighting against racism and white supremacy and all of those things, and just making it, But basically, this follows Bree, our main character, who finds out that she has kind of magical powers and is inducted into this society of the Arthurian legend. And this book kind of mixes Arthurian legend with kind of like boarding school, dark academia vibes and things like that. But I think like the main point of this book, which is Bree being one of, I think the only, if not one of the only, colored people in this really white society. So it's really about kind of the idea of white supremacy, and colored people don't really have a seat at the table. So when she, as one of the only black people at this in this society, gets this opportunity, you know, everybody is really doubting her and really kind of expecting her to fail. And more than that, don't even really want her there, don't really care about her, and just treat her really badly. So she's fighting, yeah, like things like white supremacy, racism, all of these things. And obviously, like, there's so much more to the story. This is a fantasy, and it's a great read as well. But in terms of like that message, it's definitely in there. And I just think Bree is a great character because she never really lets those things that people are saying or feeling or thinking get to her. And she doesn't really let people kind of put her down and make her fail. She rises up and she, you know, kind of claps back at all of her haters and says that, like, I deserve to be here and I am going to succeed. So last up, I have technically two songs, but I think both of them have a similar message, or at least both of the messages in these songs work for this one book. But so our songs are I Hate You by SZA, as well as Easy On Me by Adele. So both of these songs were really popular last year, and I think that they're both really great songs. Kind of have, I guess, yeah, different messages from each other, so I'll talk about them separately. So we have I Hate You, which is obviously a song about hating somebody. You know, like she's saying that you have not been a good person to me in my life, and I hate you for that, and you don't deserve to be in my life, which is a great message for the book that I'm going to talk about in a second. Our second song, Easy On Me, is a really obviously sad, emotional Adele song. Like, she loves her power ballads, and he, you know, makes no mistake on this one. But this song is about basically her telling everybody, telling the world really, that, you know, go easy on me. I have done the best that I can, and I haven't always made the best choices, but I'm here and I, you know, did what I can, so go easy on me. Both of these songs are great fits for this book. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. So this is a book that I didn't necessarily have high hopes for when I first read it, because I did previously read another Colleen Hoover book that I didn't really like. But this book, I think, was so powerful and impactful and meaningful. This basically is following Lily, our main character, who falls in love with this man who on the outside is perfect, and he is this great guy. He's a doctor, and he, like, they have this great relationship, and he is so great to her. He treats her really well. But the more that they get into this relationship, she kind of sees like different sides of him until it gets to a point where he is not who she thought he was, and he is abusive and not, you know, a good guy, and hurts her. And obviously, like, this is not something she was expecting. This is not something she knew when she first got into this relationship with him. Also in this book, when she was younger, we find out that she had this really great love story with this guy named Atlas, who kind of moved away, and they haven't seen each other again. But that also gets in the way of her relationship with this abusive man. You know, obviously that's no excuse, like, just because he's jealous of past relationships she had, not an excuse. But either way, obviously this book deals with like heavy triggering topics. So, you know, read those trigger warnings if you haven't read this book. But I think that this book did a really good job of dealing with and talking about this, you know, really scary situation of being in an abusive relationship. But also, more than that, being in an abusive relationship with somebody that you love. Because again, when she first got into this relationship, she had no idea that this is the type of man that she married. You know, he didn't show any of these things while they were in, I guess, that honeymoon period of their relationship. So when she finds out these things, it's really hard for her to kind of reconcile those two sides of him. On one side, she, you know, loves him so dearly and sees this great side of him whenever she's with him. They have these great moments, and there's so much love there. But on the other side, when he turns into this kind of monster in a way and starts hurting her and abusing her, you know, that's just really hard to reconcile those two sides of this one person that, again, she really loved. So anyways, that was a bit of a long spiel, but I think that this book was really great and had a lot of important, impactful discussions on abusive relationships. So these two songs, I think, fit really well with this book, just because, again, first of all, with I Hate You, there are just so many strong feelings of hatred towards this person because again, like, not only obviously hate because he abuses her and hurts her physically, but also because, you know, she had this idea of this person and he did not live up to that. He is not the person he said he was or that she thought that he was. And so she kind of hates him for ruining this relationship and ruining what they had. And then with Easy on Me, same thing that Easy on Me talked about is that, you know, there were choices made and there were things that happened that were kind of out of her control, Adele's that is. And, you know, she's kind of telling everyone to go easy on me and to realize that, you know, some of the choices she made weren't easy and were difficult. And she had to do what she did for different reasons. But, you know, for the world to know, go easy on her. And just like Lily in this book, I think that a lot of times we very easily kind of victim blame and, you know, say like, why didn't she get out of the situation? Why didn't she leave him? Why didn't she stop this? Things like that, when again, it's not easy, it's very difficult, and we as outsiders don't really realize that. So it is important to go easy. And I mean, more than that, it's important to believe these people and to realize their struggles and how difficult this situation really is. So I think that those two songs fit really well with this book. And again, if you haven't read this book, definitely read those trigger warnings because it is a really heavy book, but I do think that it's very important and again written so well and talks about these issues really well. So on that somber note, those are all of my recommendations for these songs to books. Again, I tried to pick songs that were like not only popular in 2021, but that I also really loved. So if you haven't heard any of these songs, definitely check them out because all of these are great songs. But yeah, let me know if you like these recommendations, if you think they fit the songs, and if you don't, you know, maybe what recommendations would you have for these songs. So let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time.